Give me 20 years. Return to you a powerful Russian online rumor. This is the proud saying that Putin has released. Actually, people have never said. Russian history said. Similar words are the Prime Minister of the Romanov Empire Prime Minister Stolypin. The original words are stable to the country within 20 years. Russia will not recognize you. At the 150th anniversary meeting of Stolypin's birthday, Putin quoted this sentence. This may be the origin of internet rumors. National Television of Russia has carried out a selection of the greatest Russians. Stereo pushes the Soviet Union. Live in the second highlight of adults. Second only to the 13th century. Facing the Mongolian and European invaders to maintain a unified Russian Nevsky. Its historical status. However, destiny has not been given to Stolypin for 20 years. Hello everyone. I am a flying bear. Hackerist and events. Favorite audiences can pay attention to me. Stolypin was born in Dresden in 1862. Dad is a general to the devil in Germany. His family has served the Tsar Emperor since the 16th century. Ali noblemen. Accumulate huge wealth. Stolypin grew up in Genie Jade Food. Study at the University of St. Petersburg Maintenance Agriculture. Menjeev, the father of elemental cycle law, is one of his teachers. Strain's origin is complete. Naturally enter the Tsarist Russia system. But what height can be achieved in the end? Still depends on your own ability and historical process. Stolypin graduated in 1885. In the Department of Internal Affairs. Work. Familiar with the Empire Operation System. After 4 years, he placed the chief noble and judge of Kovna province in the Northwest Border government. The Northwest Border is today's Lithuania. Stolypin has been here for more than 10 years. Outstanding work continuously 7 levels. I have accumulated rich management experience. The single household farm system in the frontier area inspired him later based on private ownership. 1902. 40-year-old Stolypin is the youngest governor in the history of Tsarist Russia. Get in charge of the province. He advocates the rotation of the crops when he is born. Use chemical fertilizer. Improvement of farm tools. Educate farmers. This has caused the nobles and landlords of the province. What they want is only a brainless worker, instead of knowledgeable farmers. This. Strain responded. You can't be afraid of light. Fear of literacy and enlightenment. Correct and wise education to the public. It will only make the country more stable. C. This is called pattern. 1903. Stolypin is transferred to the governor of Saratov. Soon. A storm that swept the empire 1905 Russian Revolution will send it to the core of power. Crimean War in the middle of the 19th century. Russian losses. Exposure of the disadvantages of serfs. Tsar Alexander II in 1861. Abolish. Education. Military. A series of changes in finance and local autonomy. But, although farmers get rid of the personal attachment of the landlord, however, it is still bound by the village community system. Fundamental contradictions still exist. After the assassination of Alexander II, his son III turns reactionary. Conservative various problems, the more accumulated. The son of the third generation of Tsar Nicholas II continues the dad set. Adhere to the Tsar autocratic. Reject any change. Each contradiction is increasingly sharp. From 1994 to 1905. The Russian War of the Japanese and Russian War was defeated in succession. Eventually detonated the gunpowder barrel. 1905. January 22nd. The father of Dong Zhengjio Garbin led about 30,000 St. Petersburg workers to Donggong Square peace petition. I hope their Tsar little father knows the bottom level. Terminate war. Change. Nicholas was not in the East Palace at the time. As people gather more and more, the Tsar Guard fired to the public. Cause more than 1,000 people. This incident caused anger. The Russians no longer send hope on Tsar. A series of spontaneous workers in Russia strike. Farmers uprising. Stolypin's tough suppression. Make the only governor who firmly controlled the situation of the province to be favored by the Tsar. Then, Nicholas II is forced by the situation. Sharagovit, who appointed gentlemen, presides over the overall situation. Announce the implementation of the monarchy. Establish a National Duma. That is, But he was reluctant to decentralize. Wit really cannot solve the contradiction between conservatives and reformists. Resign. Such a big rotten stall. Nicholas can't handle it. Think of the ability. Stolypin, who is loyal to the royal family. May 1996. Stolypin entered the pavilion 2 months later as chairman of the Imperial Minister Conference. Equivalent to the Prime Minister. His means are indeed thunderous. Drip Duma twice. Revise legislation. Just to reduce the restrictions on yourself. So as to show up. The turmoil that rises one after another. Stolypin set up martial law court. Allowers to quickly judge the rebels. From 1996 to 1909. More than 3,000 people were strangled. People once called the twisting rack as Stolypin's tie. Saying badly. Compared with the Soviet Union cleaning. Strain's tie is not worth mentioning. As a firm monarchy. Stolypin hopes to develop the rural economy. Continuing the rule of the Tsar. Only solve the problem of land. Only to avoid revolution. He believes. The only way to eliminate the rural crisis is to increase the number of wealthy farmers. Because the owner of the small land naturally opposes all destructive behaviors. The core of the well-known strain reform in Russia's history. Actually, it is to dissolve the village community. Give the land private rights to farmers. Have its own land. Naturally energetic. Just like the core of Daming Zhang Zhuzhing's reform. High-end changes are often so simple. Strain's measures have achieved amazing results. Tsarist Russia's crop output has reached an unprecedented level. National income growth is 78.8%. Export growth is 100%, 112%. In grain export volume in 1912 is better than the United States. Canada. The total exports of Argentina are still 30% higher. The foreign exchange feeding industry in exchange. The number of factories increased by 1/3. Steel. Coal. Copper. Both sugar production and railway mileage have increased to varying degrees. Rotten and turmoil greatly reduced significantly. The decaying empire shows vitality. But, although Strain's reform is effective, but the process is full of intense collisions of autocracy and enlightened conservative and progressive. His approach aroused the dissatisfaction of many people. He was also assassinated several times during his tenure, so his daughter was killed. But she is still fearless. However, the Tsar also had suspicion on him. March 1911. Stolypin was defeated by political opponents. Forced to resign from the position of Prime Minister. If it weren't for the Tsar. His mother appreciated him. He has been kicked out of the court. September 14. 40-9-year-old Stolypin accompanied the Tsar to the Kiev Opera House to enjoy the opera. He was shot by Ukrainian anarchist Pogrov and died after 4 days. Afterwards, Tsar ordered to stop judicial investigation. Saying the murderer. The stabbing incident is confusing. Although Stolypin's successor has continued most of his measures. But the World War I was destroyed by all the efforts. This is exactly what Stolypin said. The reason for the stability of the country within 20 years. The changes are gradual. War and turmoil will interrupt the process. Famous writer called Russian Conscience. Stolypin has a high evaluation of Stolypin. I think if he doesn't hang Tsar Russia, maybe I won't go like this. Play. There are also many views. Strain reform is just the old bottle of new wine. The house that has rotten the foundation looks more decent. It did not solve the fundamental contradiction. Instead, the gap between land mergers and the rich and the poor buried a big thunder for the empire. For Stolypin himself. Maybe he just did something that he thought it was correct. Right and wrong. Relying on future generations commented. Say this today. If you like Friends, please follow me. See you next time.